All right, we're back at it. We're reading chapter 2, The Kicks, Saving the Team. Chapter 2. My mom picked me up from school so I could go home and change before the tryouts. It was just us in the car. I breathed a sigh of relief that my dad wasn't there doing his corny sound effects and that Maisie couldn't interrupt us because I couldn't wait to tell Mom about my day. I want to hear everything, Mom said as she navigated through the seas of cars and buses. Well, first of all, I'm going to need flip-flops, I said, and then I filled her in on the West Coast fashion, Jessie and Emma, and the news about how bad the soccer team was. It's a new year and a new team, Mom said to encourage me. You never know how the season will go. We pulled up in front of our new house. I raced out of the van. I almost forgot. My mom called after me, but Kara called. I told her you'd call before tryouts. Oh, and make sure to grab some water to take with you. I couldn't wait to tell Kara how my day had turned out around since we'd texted earlier. I ran into the house, dialing Kara on my cell phone as I headed upstairs to get my soccer stuff. Guess what? I asked her when I picked up. I met a couple of girls, Jessie and Emma, in my gym class today. We played kickball and they were really cool. And it turns out that Jessie is in my English class too. Jessie had shrieked and given me a high five when I walked into my class, the last class of the day. It had felt great to see a familiar face in one of my classes for a change. Yes, see, I knew you'd make friends, said Kara. I hope we'd make friends, I said, but I'm so nervous about tryouts today. I hope I can make the cut in California. Even though Jessie and Emma told me I had nothing to worry about, I'm worried they were just trying to make me feel better. What do you mean? Kara asked. I quickly filled her in on the kicks. Jessie and Emma could be exaggerating, Kara said, but it doesn't matter where you play, Devin. California, Connecticut, or Brazil, you're a great player, and where you're playing can't change that. Kara always knew how to cheer me up. You are the best friend ever, I told her. And don't forget your pink headband, Kara reminded me, since everybody looks the same in soccer uniforms. Kara and I always used to wear bright pink headbands when we played soccer, so we'd stand out. Putting them on together had been our special pregame ritual. Kara filled me in on her day before we got off the phone. Dad drove me back up. Whoops. There's my recording from chapter 1. Dad drove me back up to school. Kick some butt, Devin, said my dad, giving me a hug of encouragement. My dad loved watching me play soccer. He'd be so happy if I made the team here, but I couldn't help feeling the butterflies fluttering in my stomach. Even with Kara's pep talk, even with Kara's pep talk and Emma and Jessie telling me not to worry, it was still hard to believe that I wouldn't be facing Olympic athletes in the making. As I climbed out of the car, I saw a group of girls already on the field running laps, so I had to get my equipment on fast. As soon as I got to the field, I took off my shoes and socks, pulled my shin guards from my bag, and began to put them on my feet. Those are some serious fun socks, Jessie said, complimenting the electric blue polka dotted pair spilling out of my bag. Jessie had just arrived too, but she seemed to be in no rush, plopping down right next to me, as casual as can be. Check these out, she said, tucking a pair of lime green and white striped socks out of her satchel. We should each trade a sock, she said, grinning. Here, take this sock, and I'll take one of yours. Before I could respond, Jessie had tossed me one of her socks and held out her hand for mine. I grinned. Cool. I passed her one, and we continued to get ready. As Jessie had her head down, tying her cleats, a tall girl with dark hair walked by and gave us both a dirty look. It was so nasty, it could have scorched the grass under the bench that we were sitting on. Before I could even say anything to Jessie about it, the girl walked away, and Jessie, all laced up, jumped to her feet, not even noticing. Jessie, someone yelled from the bottom of the bleachers. Let's go. Gotta go. With that, Jessie leaped over the short railing and raced toward the field. I wasn't sure if I'd be cementing a new friendship or had or if I'd just given away a perfectly good sock. I hoped it was both. Excuse me. Out on the field, a short woman wearing bright blue athletic hoodie and a black soccer short shorts blew a whistle. Welcome, ladies. I'm Coach Flores. Who's ready to have some fun? She said enthusiastically, smiling from ear to ear. One more lap, then line up at the 18, and we'll get started. Just one more lap? I scrambled to finish getting ready. My shoes finally on, I bolted off the bench, afraid I wasn't going to have time to warm up. I hurried to make a loop and then joined everyone else at the top of the penalty box. We're going to start out with a quick scrimmage. Count off by ones and twos. The twos go towards that goal, Coach explained, and the ones stay here with me. Remember to relax and have fun. As the girls started counting off, my insides knotted up. Easy for Coach Flores to say, relax. I hadn't touched a soccer ball since Connecticut, and I definitely wasn't ready for a game yet, even a practice game, especially with unfamiliar teammates. Even though Jesse and Emma had claimed the team stunk, I wanted to impress the coach. Why couldn't we do the drills first? Drills were predictable, and they gave everybody a turn, which was fair for tryouts, unlike scrimmages where someone would have to pass me the ball for me to show off my skills. What if nobody passed to the new girl at school? Peering ahead, I tried to see if Jesse and Emma would be ones or twos. The girl directly to my right was really short, which made it easy to see over her head and spot Emma, who towered over the other girls. She was standing with Jesse, who waved when she saw me. The tiny girl beside me was anxiously chewing on the ends of her bob strawberry blonde hair. At least I wasn't the only one who felt anxious. Seeing her made me feel even more nervous. If the team was as bad as Jesse and Emma said, why was this girl nervous too? What did I miss? Someone said, sliding in line beside me. I decided to run an extra lap. I wasn't warmed up enough. We're counting. My voice trailed off. It was the girl who had given me and Jesse that nasty look. She towered over me, her dark hair neatly braided and crisscrossed over her head like a crown. She wore a shiny white jersey with matching white shorts. We're counting off for a scrimmage, I repeated. This is what I imagined a California soccer player would look like. Perfect, unbeatable. The butterflies in my stomach invited a few friends over and started dancing the cha-cha. Too intimidated to look at her directly, I gazed down at the ground as I nervously fiddled with my pink headband, and that's when I saw them. Her shoes, pure white leather with electric blue accents and silver stripes down the sides. They were so fancy. Nobody spent that much money on shoes unless they were really good, right? And since she was next in line to me, we were for sure playing against each other. Great. I tried to remind myself what Jesse and Emma said about the team's record. They seemed to think I'd be a shoo-in. I needed to relax. I was on my way to being totally psyching myself out. Coach Flores is just a joke. Why is she having us do a scrimmage? The girl said, we should do drills. My dad said she should have been fired after last year's disaster of a season. I tried my best, but I even couldn't save this team. But this year's going to be different, she added, with a determined look on her face. If she'd been on the team the year before, that would have made her an 8th grader. She was a little full of herself, and I breathed a sigh of relief she wasn't in my algebra class. But I had to admit that I did agree with her about the drills. Yeah, it's weird that we're not doing drills first, I said. Scrimmages are the worst for a tryout. It's so hard to be noticed when everybody's running around, but this team is so awful anyway. What does it matter? She shrugged. I didn't know what to say to that. I found myself staring at her shoes again. Your shoes are really cool, I offered. Aren't they? She said, my dad just got them for me. Dress for the job you want and not the job you have, he always says. It's what I wore for tryouts for the travel soccer team I'm on. It's a way better team than this group of losers. Some Pinewood girls are even on my travel team. They're the real deal. Pinewood again, I thought. Jessie and Emma had said that they were the best team in the league. I gulped. If she was playing with the girls from that team, she had to be good. She looked down at my legs and sneered. Nice socks, she said sarcastically. You know they don't match, right? My jaw dropped. I couldn't believe she was making fun of me, and I didn't even know her name. Before I could think of how to reply to that, she barreled on. You're new here. I saw you talking to Jessie. I'm Devin, I stammered, still at a loss on how to deal with her rudeness. Well, I'm Maribel, she said. Good luck. You're going to need it, especially if you hang out with Jessie. I had no clue why Maribel disliked Jessie so much. Being the new girl had definitely had its disadvantages. The Butterflies decided to hold a family reunion. I felt like I usually did after drinking one of my mom's green smoothies, and I tried to shake off the queasy feeling. Maribel was intimidating. If I let her get to me, I could blow tryouts. I needed to stay focused, but Maribel's sneering smile kept me floating through my mind. After we finished counting off, Coach Flores waved us out onto the field. Fantastic job, everyone, she cheered. Now just go on out there and have fun. Pick a position and make sure you've got someone on the goal. Just pick a position? That sounded like pure chaos to me. I played striker, so I rushed ahead to claim a spot at center field, but there were already a few girls arguing over who got to play striker. I'd never get a spot, so I rushed back to play midfield, my next best position. Jessie, who was a one like me, ran by me on her way to grab a spot, giving me a concerned look. I'd stay away from Maribel if I were you. She's mean. She raced off before I could answer. I'd been able to figure that one out on my own. I wondered once again what was going on between Jessie and Maribel. But before I could think about it anymore, Coach Flores blew her whistle and started the scrimmage. All at once, it seemed like everyone started screaming, "Get the ball! I'm open! Over here!" It was total madness on the field, just like I'd feared. With a high looping ball finally came drifting over me, a horde of charging maniacs pounced. Flustered, I booted the ball away. Half the girls watched as the ball sailed over their heads, and then they turned to chase after it like a pack of golden retrievers. Even though there was a soccer ball and a bunch of players on the field, this did not feel like soccer. Organized soccer, anyway. This is crazy, I said out loud, even though nobody was around me. I know, isn't it? Surprised by the voice. I looked over, and there was our goalie squatting comfortably nearby. She was way out of the penalty box area. The goalie's yellow gloves looked even brighter against her all-black outfit. Her eyelids had dramatic, thick black eyeliners swept across them, curling up at the ends. It gave her a fierce look when she squinted. Shouldn't you be back there? I asked. She wasn't in position to stop anything where she was. Well, you must be new. I'm Frida, she said, and I'm trying to not make the team. Trying to not make the team, I asked. Well, then why are you here? My mom, said Frida. I'm in the drama club, and she wants to be me to be more well-rounded, whatever that means. Thinks it'll help me get into college. Heads up. Unexpectedly, the girl with the strawberry blonde hair, the one who had been nervously chewing at the ends of her hair, emerged from the pack with the ball. Nobody anywhere near her. She dribbled up just past the halfway line when she saw the goal was empty. Shoot it! Someone screamed. The girl, who had been lost in concentration, looked up like she was surprised that she wasn't alone in the field. When she saw someone's eyes on her, she grew flustered and stopped suddenly, and the ball kept rolling as she stood like a statue, frozen in place. That's Zoe, Frida said to me, shrugging. She gets really nervous if anybody's watching her. I felt bad for Zoe, but I saw my chance and charged forward and stole the ball from her. I headed towards the middle of the field. Looking up, I saw Jessie streaking in from the left wing, applying just the right amount of lob. I floated a pass towards her, right between two defenders. Jessie! I yelled out. Since the eighth graders couldn't agree on who should play striker, Jessie went in and grabbed the spot. While they were too busy arguing to notice, she caught the ball in stride and one-timed it right past the other side's goalie, completing a beautiful goal. Score! That had to have gotten Coach's attention. I looked up to make sure she had seen, but Coach had an arm around Zoe and was giving her a pep talk instead of watching the game. Jessie ran all the way from across the field to toss her arms around me in a huge hug. Such a great pass, she exclaimed. Sox sisters for life. I giggled, but the smile was wiped off my face as Maribel brushed by us by mid-celebration. Her lip curled. Oh, get over it. It's one goal. Jessie gave Maribel a dirty look and then rolled her eyes at me. I'm sure if she scores, it'll be the biggest deal ever. So lame. On to the next kickoff. I moved to get the ball so I could look for Jessie again. From out of nowhere, Maribel, who was on the other team, flashed in to take the ball away from me. That was lucky, I thought. Maribel then floated a perfect pass of her own to another player, leading to a gorgeous goal. Nice pass, Maribel, Coach said. Great. Now, Coach was watching. As Maribel was good, fully engaged now, she kept twirling right through the chaotic pile of girls, showing off tricky step-overs, behind-the-back dribbles, and fancy ball juggles. Someone stop her, I said, gasping for breath after Maribel scored. Then I saw Coach Flores look at her stopwatch and reach for her whistle. Scrimmage was going to end. I had to do something drastic if I wanted to be remembered for anything at all. If I could stop Maribel, I would give everyone something to remember. The next time Maribel hurled towards me, I lunged at the ball. Anticipating my move, Maribel countered with a full 360-degree spin. I lost my balance and sprawled out on the ground, getting a mouthful of grass as she flew past me. I got my head up in time to see Maribel's finesse the ball into the top left corner of the goal. Coach's whistle blew. That's enough, girls, she said. You were all wonderful. Remember, no matter how you performed today, at least you all gave it your best. That's what counts. Tryouts results will be posted tomorrow. Nice work, everyone. I dropped my head down, totally humiliated. Coach Flores had to be kidding. I'd totally blown it. As Frida stopped to help me, Maribel pranced by and mimed holding a video camera in her hand. YouTubed, she teased. Brushing myself off, I stared at her. Oh, ignore her, Frida said. We all fall down every now and then. Especially me, Emma said with a sheepish smile. Believe me, however bad your fall looked, I've done worse. I was so embarrassed. I couldn't look at anyone. Just then, Jessie came up with Zoe in tow. If that had been me, I would have just tackled her, Jessie said. Well, nobody's going to want me on the team after that, I said, bummed. Sure they will. You were great, Jessie assured me. Weren't you watching? We might have a few good players, but the tryouts were a mess, total disaster. You at least had an assist today. I guess, I said. How would I explain to Kara and my parents that I couldn't even make the world's worst soccer team? I hope you're right. All right. That is the end of chapter 2.